Hello everyone. As we start the first regular Shabbos of the year, I'd like to start a new series called Paying Attention on Shabbos. I'm going to speak about various aspects of davening on Shabbos that we all know but don't necessarily understand. And without further ado, let's begin. There is a beautiful, in my opinion, emotional part of the Friday night service in which we say Lechadodi, and at the end of which we turn in a direction and say Booy Kala, come in Shabbos Queen. I always find it emotional, and I think it's one of the most beautiful moments on Shabbos. However, why do we turn? We usually face a certain direction when we daven, and we turn. So there's actually two schools of thoughts on this. Number one, the school of thought of the Mishnah Brura. Based on the Pri Megadim and others, he says, you turn towards the west. The west is where the sun is setting. When the sun sets on Friday, starts the 39 prohibitions of Shabbos, all the rabbinic commandments and prohibitions of Shabbos, not to mention the biblical commandments of Shabbos. So literally looking at the sun setting is a good sign that the Kedusha of Shabbos is beginning. So that's why we turn to the west. Ultimately, says Rav Moshe Feinstein, most shuls in Europe, their Aron Kodesh was to the east, so when they turned the opposite direction of the Aron Kodesh, namely not the normal direction they davened, but the opposite, they were facing west. And therefore he says very explicitly, if you're in a shul and it's not west, you should face west. If that's to the right or that's to the left, wherever it might be. So I live in Efrat, which is to the south of Jerusalem. My Aron Kodesh is facing north. So according to Rav Moshe Feinstein, I should be not turning 180 degrees, but rather I should be turning to my left, and that's west. The Aruch HaShulchan says, no, you face the door. You welcome in the Shabbos Queen at the door. Rav Soloveitchik was known to not only believe that this is the proper interpretation, but he actually went to the door in his congregation and opened it to welcome in the Shabbos Queen. Usually doors are exactly in front of the Aron Kodesh, namely if you have your back to the Aron, or you're walking in, you see the Aron in front of you. So, indeed, you would turn 180 degrees. But according to this, if the door's on the side, you should be going to the side. If the door's on the left side, you should be facing the left side. But there's a third interpretation. Shut B'Tzel HaChochma, Rav Betzalel Stern, who for many years was a rabbi in Melbourne. And he has a beautiful responsum in which he says that in my shul, the Aron Kodesh is rightfully facing west. So according to the interpretation that says you should be facing west, we shouldn't move. We're facing the right direction the whole time. But he says if you do that, the whole emotion that I started with is lost because you face that direction anyway. So there's no emotional part in which you actually turn to welcome in the Shabbos Queen. And therefore, he says, because even though I believe you should be facing west, I think that because the emotional aspect is missing, we should be facing the door. So these are the reasons why you turn at Booy בשלום, either to face west, which is the sign that Shabbos is beginning, or face the door. However, according to all these interpretations, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to face a wall, unless the wall's in the west. In other words, just to turn around 180 degrees, and that wouldn't be neither west nor the door, there is absolutely no source that I know of that says you should face that way. So to sum up, we do something in order to make it emotionally clear that we're welcoming in a different day. We literally change the way we daven by turning at the beginning of this holy day, either to face west or to face the door. And by doing so, we make it clear to ourselves and to everyone around us we're welcoming in a very different day, a day filled with sanctity, a day that's filled with both prohibitions, not to mention mitzvot we have to do. A different day that's full of sanctity. And indeed, it's such a different day that we have to actually welcome it in by changing our position, either to the west or to the door. Wishing everyone a Shabbat Shalom.